Before this video gets started, I just wanted to say thank you to all channel members for supporting the channel. It truly means a lot. If you want to become a channel member, hit the link down in the description. Now, let's get on with today's video. What is going on, everybody? Pineapple Sway. It's going to be talking about Suicide Squad Year 2. Now, I know before you comment down below that this game isn't getting a Year 2. I know that. I'm just going to be telling you guys everything I know about what Year 2 would have been and could have been, since I have been hiding this information for a bit of time. I kind of wanted to wait to share it till once I knew some official confirmation of how the game was going to end and how much longer we had left for Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League. And here we are at this point. There's a very real possibility that I could still get copyright striked or this video gets taken down, but hey, I'm just gonna full send it and let you guys know. Not necessarily saying of like, oh, feel bad that our game died, we missed out on this. Just to give you guys an idea of what could have been if things all went well for Rocksteady Studios and Warner Brothers. Let's get right into it. We're gonna start with the small stuff first and then move on to the really big thing that I have been saving for quite some time. We're gonna be talking about inventory brands. Basically, an inventory brand is like, not really sure exactly what this means. It can mean a lot of things, from a possible playable character or possible infamous character gear set. I think it's more on the lines of like gear sets and just inventory assets. So maybe it's a playable character, maybe not. I'm not really sure. There is a lot of inventory assets in Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League for some odd reason. Starting with Brainiac Tech, Star Labs, Armor Tech, Rogue, Mako, Mr. Freeze, Plastique, Livewire, Toyman, Hourman, Wonder Woman, Batman, The Flash, Cyborg, Bane, Scarecrow, Two-Face, Riddler, Killer Frost, Dr. Leviticus, Captain Cold, Catwoman, Gorilla Grodd, Libra, Ra's al Ghul, Sinestro, and Doomsday. Where I can piece this together is that maybe at some point, if the game was successful, they may have planned to give us heroic gear, like more superhero themed gear, which is why there's Batman, Flash, Cyborg, and Wonder Woman, which I also find interesting because there's really no indicator of Cyborg's existence in the Arkhamverse, but maybe he could have gotten introduced in Year 2, maybe joining the Justice League after they defeat the 13th Brainiac. Yeah, it's really interesting too, hearing villains like Plastique and Dr. Leviticus. And then there's a little bit more, like Felix Gauss, I think that's his name. I'm not exactly sure who that is. Not really too much to go off of, and honestly, like, I really have no idea what these mean, because most of them are listed as undefined, while the other like characters will have like episode villain tag to it. So we can only assume that, hey, this was most likely going to be like a gear set of some sort. So there's that, inventory assets and whatnot. Now let's move on to playable characters. Playable characters has been, a big controversy for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, since the first three, in my opinion, were really weak, and then Deathstroke was really cool. And it seems like the Year 2 cycle of characters would have been a lot better. I know some of them are confirmed, but a lot of them are speculation, but it seemed to be the most likely case that we were going to get Killer Croc to be the first character for Year 2. Then it would have been Katana, Grim Knight, which Grim Knight is an interesting one, and we'll explain the Year 2 storyline, which I'll talk about here in a second. Scream Queen, for some reason, because apparently Scream Queen, who I have no idea who Scream Queen is, she has a Task Force X banner, apparently in the game's files, that you could find. Not sure how much truth that holds, but that's apparently what people have said and claimed online. And then apparently there was an adult version of Poison Ivy. Also not sure how much truth that held, but apparently Poison Ivy would have been playable as well. So that would have been the 5 characters for Year 2. Also, I assume with, the introduction of the different gear sets, like what I already mentioned, like Sinestro, Doomsday, and so on and so forth. Or maybe they would have done something entirely different, like maybe heroic gear sets. Like the year 2 would have been hero themed instead of villain themed, since it also seems like as well the Brainiac. So we know that the game originally was meant to have 10 seasons, and they cut it down to 4. So we're missing out on a lot of content. The Brainiac story was supposed to span across 6 seasons originally, with Flash and Green Lantern returning in season 2 and season 3, Batman returning in season 4, I believe, and Wonder Woman returning in season 5, and then defeating Brainiac and rescuing Superman in season 6. And then season 7, 8, 9, and 10 would have introduced the year 2 villain. Now, for the longest time, I thought so too. A lot of people thought the year 2 villain would have been Lex Luthor. But I'm here to confirm that it would not have been Lex Luthor. It would have been someone else entirely, which I'll explain to the best I can because I don't really know much about this. Neither does anyone, and we'll probably not even really get an actual explanation of what would have been or what it could have been, but it would not have been Lex Luthor, and it's not Darkseid either. So let's get on with it. Okay, so the year 2 villain of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, from what we know, would have been the Batman Who Laughs. I have no idea how they would have introduced him to this game's already at times lackluster and just poor story, especially from the DLC content. But the villain would have been the Batman Who Laughs with his own version of a dark, corrupted Justice League, which is what would have led to the introduction of the Grim Knight, which is basically like Batman with guns. He would have been a playable character. Seriously, like I have no idea how he would have been introduced, but it would have also introduced the idea of the boss fights would have been the exact same, since we would have been still fighting I think they're called dark metal version of the Justice League. So boss fights would have been the exact same, and we would have, or maybe it's called them. It's some weird name that the Justice League has. It's like under the Batman Who Laughs. My only explanation and assumption is that he's basically like a multiverse being, and like maybe the he's probably the one that controls the multiverse and whatnot. And my assumption was that Task Force X and Brainiac, might have destroyed the multiverse in some capacity. So, which is what would have led to his introduction. But, still looking in, obviously, it seems like, there was greater ambitions for this game before obviously what happened, since, we all know that this game just didn't financially do well. So, it's just crazy how much time Rocksteady put into wanting to create a year 2 and possibly a year 3. But, seemed like the game was going to span across 10 seasons. And then, like what I said, season 7 would have been the introduction of the Batman Who Laughs. But, it probably would have been, the same issues we already face with the base game, knowing that he would have had like a dark, I guess, dark metal Justice League, or that may or may not be the right term. I'm not entirely sure. So we all know that the boss fights probably would have been the exact same. A lot of reused assets, but it would have been cool to see where the story would have went. But we never will really never know. Maybe through audio logs they might tease him. I seriously don't know. We know that Rocksteady's making another game, although it's not, like Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League 2. People believe that it's going to be Batman related, so maybe it'll be Batman Beyond, and this could just be the clarification that we need, that the story that was originally planned will just be entirely scrapped and forgotten about. Because although I do love the multiverse, it does get confusing, and it does feel a tad bit oversaturated and can be overdone at times. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Obviously, here we are now. But yeah, the Batman Who Laughs and basically his own version of the Justice League were set to become the year 2 villains of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. I think it would have been really cool to see how that would have worked, how it would have been, but honestly, I think it's for the best. Obviously, we all know that Rocksteady, the developers, um, just during this game's development, had a really tough time with leadership, and I think it's best for them to just sort of let this game be, go behind them and work on their next ambitious title, which I'm sure they'll deliver on. I can almost guarantee it. Um, but yeah, whether it's Batman, Superman, or the Justice League, I really don't know. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section. It's pretty crazy just to see how much of a leap they were taking to make him the next villain, and just how chaotic this story would have, could have, should have been. Um, Obviously, we didn't get that, but it is what it is, though. Yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. This is Pineapple Sway. Peace out.